What's up, everybody? I know yesterday for a lot of you was extremely depressing, and Sunday's game really told me, told me quite a bit about the remainder of this season and what could definitely happen. So we're going to talk about that. Everybody, come on in here. Come and air out your grievances, vent. You know, if you're ticked off, you go ahead and express yourself. This is we'll for the next about 30 minutes, we will we will vent together. So we will talk about that and a whole lot more coming up in the next 30 seconds on TNT post game.
Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody
What's going on, Tight Nation? How's everybody doing? And everybody else out there in the world, welcome into TNT Post Game. I am your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer. We are going to have a very, very fun episode for you on this evening. Everybody, before we do go ahead and get started, go ahead and share this show out. Go ahead and share it out. And also, if you haven't been following any of the pages, please do definitely go ahead and follow the pages, whether it be on Facebook at TNT Enforcers, on Twitter X at TNT Blue Enforcer, and also on Instagram at Titan_N_Truth. Go ahead and follow those channels. I will definitely be doing my best to update those pages and everything with more content, more information. As the season goes on, and some things that are coming down the pike, some things gonna be happening. So definitely make sure you can do that, and then also make sure as well you do follow on check it out. You can check me out also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Definitely follow those right there as well. And then that way you will be you definitely can listen to it audio. If you have to be at work or something like that, or you missed something of the show, you could go back and rewatch or re-listen and everything there. Definitely check that out. And everybody, as you come into the show, everybody, please make sure you hit the like button and also make sure you help me out and hit that subscribe button as well. Definitely go ahead and do that because it will help me. It helps the channel, helps the algorithm, and everything with that too. So definitely make sure you definitely do that as well. I definitely do appreciate everybody who comes in, who is a part of the show and everything. So definitely make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell and hit the bell and hit all, so that way whenever I go live, like tonight I was originally going to go live at 7, but I need to go live a few minutes early, so I went ahead and did that. So definitely make sure you hit like and subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on Twitter as well. Definitely make sure you do that as well, and I definitely do appreciate each and every one of you that has tuned in. But thank y'all so much for being here with me. But let's get right into it, everybody. This is what we call. This is a grieving session. This is a venting session. So feel free to come on and air out your grievances. I am trying to share the show right now, and I know some people are going to be coming in and tuning in and things like that. So definitely feel free to come on in, air out your grievances. Um, Vent. You can vent about this horrific performance that was put on by this Tennessee Titans team because let's just be honest. Nobody played well yesterday. Nobody. I mean, you can look all over the field for blame and you wouldn't be wrong. And so, um, there's definitely enough blame to go around with everybody. And so nothing is off the table here as far as I'm concerned, as far as how bad this game really went. Lou Manning here tightened up. Your Bruce James says tighten the F up, which Fade says don't give up OG. XD Gamer, I'm so happy knowing I have a free win this week now. XD, how fitting. Faye said only 3 games behind. And I got something to say on that. When it comes to that pinball, says probably will only win 1 more game. We're definitely going to talk about that. As Dorit said, I made it. I appreciate y'all coming on in a little early. Like I said, I was going to go live at 7, but I decided to go live about 6:30 because I'm going to go take care of some business. I'm going to go take care of some family business in a little while. I got to go help something out with my mom. So, Cookie says, I'm sad, but not ready to throw in the hat right now. Tighten up. And of course, I know XD is extremely happy and things like that. And Zuri says, we remember when we sucked with no stars? Now we suck with stars. People are like, oh no, we suck again. Well, 20. So the Tennessee Titans fall 20-6 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And ladies and gentlemen, I have come to one very, very just concrete conclusion. As y'all see on the title, it says Titans hit rock bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you now. The season, I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I am definitely saying it now. The season is over. It's all over. You might as well go ahead and start scouting for the draft next year. I'm probably going to start doing that because it's over and done. The Tennessee Titans fall to 3-6 on the year. And I really don't see a silver lining in all of this. Let's just be real about it. Like Cookie Crutcher was like, Cookie Crutcher and some others was like, don't give up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. As a broadcaster, I'm of course going to be objective. And of course, I'm going to continue to do these shows because, yes, I love this team. And we're going to continue to talk about this team. It's not like I'm saying that Titans in truth, I'm never going to record the rest of the season or nothing. Of course, we're going to continue. Again, like I said a few weeks back, that I'm going to be watching this season with an open mind. I'm going to be watching this season for different things because it's not about wins and losses anymore. And I think a lot of you need to understand that. This ain't about wins and losses no more. The Titans are not winning the division. They're not making the playoffs. You just need to go ahead and get that in your mind right now. The way this team is playing, they're not making the playoffs. They're not winning the division. And in all honesty, I don't know how many more games we're going to win. And that's just being real. Sorry it's for you. Like I've always said, if y'all expected me to be a fanboy like rah, don't worry, we're going to get back on track next time. And, this team can still win, and we're still going to win a division. If you're thinking like that, no disrespect, you're being delusional. It's time to be realistic. It's time to come back. It's time to come back down to earth. You're thinking in the clouds, in the stratosphere. You're thinking in the stars. You're in space. You're on the moon. Come back down to earth into reality. The Tennessee Titans absolutely 100% suck. And I can say that, and I say that, and I love this team. The Tennessee Titans suck. Okay? I know there's gonna probably be a bunch of y'all that are probably not gonna like it or gonna want to stop, gonna want to not listen to the rest of the show because it's like you've probably been listening to some shows today and like done but a bunch of negativity and all of this. But I'm like, sorry, we're just being honest here. We're being honest here. So, I mean, that's what this is all about. We're going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and give you false hope and give you, dreams that we know are not going to come true. I mean, that's just not how we do this. So I'm just saying that we gotta face facts here, ladies and gentlemen. We just gotta be honest with ourselves. The Tennessee Titans absolutely suck. And it is okay to admit that. And let's start at the very beginning. This game was kind of over with before it started. Now, the first drive I thought was a very, very impressive drive. I thought the first drive was a very, very impressive drive, but then we stall out at the end. And this is how we knew things were going to go bad. You were already deficient on the offensive line, and you had Andre Dillard out there. And you know how, Tampa Bay, one of the worst defenses in the league, 29th ranked defense in yards. And they were 31st against the pass. Didn't look like it yesterday. One of the things I said was don't let this team get loose. Don't be the team that everybody else always get right against. And that's exactly what happened. Tampa Bay got right against you. You are basically the one that everybody walks over. Be like, other teams on the schedule gonna be like, you know what? We're struggling right now. Oh, you know what? The Tennessee Titans are up next. We can clean up a lot of our mess. That's what Tampa Bay did. Tampa Bay, one of the most blitz-heavy teams in the league. They blitz 60% of the time. I was saying that all throughout the game. And yet, we didn't prepare for that. We didn't compensate for that. You left, and you know how bad it had to be on that first drive. Vita Vea, a nose tackle, a defensive lineman that's about 350, 60 pounds. Nobody plays in the middle. You know how much they do not respect your offensive line at all. They put Vita Vea out on the edge at defensive end on Andre Dillard. They knew Andre Dillard was the weakest link of a bad offensive line. And Vita Vea practically walked back to Will Levis. Andre Dillard couldn't block him one-on-one. And I blame him, but I also blame the coaching staff. You're telling me nobody saw that and thought, timeout. We need to switch this up so we can give help to our horrible left tackle who's about to get destroyed by their 350-pound monster defensive lineman. And Vita Vea is a good one. But no, they thought, you know what? He can handle it. Dillard can handle blocking Vita Vea. And Vita Vea, he ain't exactly fast. Used a speed rush. Basically, I could have gotten to Will Levis in that situation. So Vita Vea basically bullied Andre Dillard, walking and bullying Andre Dillard in and putting Will Levis and Dillard into his arms, and then he throws Will Levis to the ground. That is the definition of horrible. Pathetic. And so that was just, you knew things were going to go from bad to worse. After that, Will Levis never looked comfortable again. Will Levis was fighting for his life behind that offensive line. And when he had time to throw, you had Chig dropping passes, NWYK catch a cold, DeAndre Hopkins getting double teamed. You have nobody else besides him. Now, Tajay Spears made a couple of plays on some screen passes. Peter Skoronski can't get out and block Levante David on a screen because if Derrick Henry, if Skoronski, he was about maybe a tenth of a second late, if Skoronski gets there and makes that block, it was nothing but green ahead. Derrick probably scores on that play. But Will Levis was under attack the entire game. I mean, you know, back in World War II, Germany, the Germans employed a strategy called blitzkrieg. And that is basically, you have fast-moving forces who come in, hit you hard, hit you punch in the mouth, hit you hard, bomb, pop everybody, and they try to get into the core of the opposing army as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. It's basically like you said, it's like an attack on the nervous system. You know, you get into the brain, you get into the nervous system, you hit the brain, you know, you're severely damaging yourself. The rest of the body might still work, but not working fast enough because your brain can't get to the rest of your body to tell the body what to do. Once the brain is gone, the rest of the body dies. And that's what happened. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers put on full blitzkrieg. They kept getting to Will Levis. They kept hitting him. They allowed 21 pressures. Levis probably got hit at least 8 or 9 times, maybe more, and got sacked 4 times. And then make matters worse, Andre Dillard, I don't even know how this happened, ends up going in the locker room with a concussion. I mean, I guess Vita Vea beat him down so bad on that one play, I didn't see him again after that first drive. And so then you had Dylan Radis, who started at right guard, had to go to left tackle. And I believe they brought in Andrew Rupchich, who was just brought up from the practice squad. And it didn't go any better. And that did not go any better. So the entire offensive line stunk from left to right. Radins, Skoronski included. Skoronski didn't have a great day either. And so on this offensive line, you don't have receivers that can get open. And when they do, you can't catch the ball. Will Levis has got to learn to use his legs a bit to extend. And Faye says Duncan is better. Well, we don't know that yet because they didn't put him on the field. And basically, according to Buck Rising, that he's not up to speed yet, but Vrabel has said that he might get some opportunity. I mean, it's very funny, and we'll get to Vrabel in just a bit. It's funny, Vrabel comes out and says, well, Dylan's in concussion protocol. Dylan Radens, he didn't play up to the standard. He didn't play up to the standard, and maybe Jalen, he might get some opportunity there. So basically, after one game where Dylan Radens didn't even practice at left tackle pretty much ever since being a Titan. I mean, he played left tackle in college. But I think the Titans messed him up so bad, having him learn right tackle, then having him learn left or right guard. I even think there were times where they tried to, have him learn center instead of putting him at his natural position. And I think they're going to ruin Skoronski the exact same way because they won't play him at their natural positions. So, I mean, it's bad. It's really, really bad. And then you don't have receivers. You have no receivers beside DeAndre Hopkins. Kyle Phillips might come along. But other than that, you have no receivers. Traylon Burks can't stay healthy, and I'm pretty much out on him. I can guarantee you, Traylon Burks, even if he does come back, he ain't going to help you none. And I hope I'm wrong. Seems like a good kid, just ain't a football player. He'll probably end up going to another team, and he'll blow up. Now, a new coach coming in might save his career. Might save his career. And we'll talk about that later. But the offense as a whole was outright gutter trash. And the worst thing about it is everybody keeps talking about offensive line, offensive line. Offensive line has been a problem for over 3 years now. And Vrabel and the gang have not fixed it at all. Or they try to patch it up. It's like a flat tire. You basically try to patch it up, cover the hole, put a Band-Aid on it instead of getting a new tire. Patchwork can only work for so long before you go flat again. And that's what Vrabel is trying to do. But of course, he's more holy than thou. He knows more than all of us. So I know a lot of comments are coming in, and I'm going to try to get to some of them because I know I'm not going to get to everybody. But the offense is bad. Very, very bad. Tim Kelly not doing a great job of calling plays, and I think Vrabel might be influencing that as well. Very much so. I think there definitely could be some influence there. So the offense is just bad, and they really need to figure it out. But I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out. I really don't. Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry could not do a thing, and I felt sorry for him. Will Levis, 19 of 39, 199 yards, an interception. Derrick Henry only 24 yards on 11 carries. And the way that this offensive line cannot protect anybody, you begin to worry about Will Levis's safety. Like, I can honestly say, I am terrified for Will Levis's health. I am scared this young man is not going to make it through the season alive. I mean, I'm talking figuratively alive, but I'm just saying it's only a matter of time before he suffers an injury. And it seems like Mike Vrabel is not going to do anything to fix it. He's just going to think, we're going to be fine. We just got to, we just got to coach better, play better, do better. And so you've got to figure out at least your 5 guys that at least could be competent. Again, I think Hubbard, even though he kind of had a bad game, I think Hubbard, for the most part, has been solid at right tackle. Brunskill maybe coming back might help a little on right guard. I don't know why we don't try Corey Levin at center. Because Aaron Brewer, as Vrabel says, is tougher than a $2 steak, but is undersized and getting destroyed up the middle. A lot of the pressure was coming up the middle on the right side most of the time. And there was some pressure coming on the left side too, but most of it was coming on the right, was coming up the middle on Brewer, Rupchich, and Skoronski. That's where most of the pressure was coming from. And I know a lot of y'all are ready to throw Dylan Radis away. I think if you give Radis at least a full week of reps at left tackle, get him practicing at left tackle, it could get better. It could. Now, I ain't saying it won't because I have no faith in this offensive line right now. I am, I guess, trying to find some type of positivity. But this offensive line is horrible. And we all said it couldn't get no worse than Dennis Daly, right? It did. It got way worse. Gil Pickler is 100 times worse than Dennis Daly ever could. So I don't want anybody to put blame on Will Levis because it's not on him. I'm going to try to go back and get some of y'all comments. Now, I don't want any of y'all to start putting blame on Will Levis because this is not his fault. This is not his fault. And it's not on him. Offensive line, receivers aren't helping him. And so, yeah, you got to start seeing what you got. But the offense, I don't know if there's a lot of hope for the offensive line. But you got to find 5 guys. Like Andre Dillard cannot be on the field at left tackle. Andrew Rupchich shouldn't be on the field or on the team at right guard. You could at least put Corey Levin in there. You could at least, try Dylan Radis. You could try Jalen Duncan. Try to see about that. So, offense, I'm scared for Will Levis. Let's be honest. But more importantly than that, I got to take a look. But let's take a look at the other side of the ball because the defense didn't play great either. You could barely muster up a pass rush. And we're going to start right at the top. You're supposed to have one of the most menacing defensive lines in the NFL with Landry, Key, Autry, Simmons, Tier Tart. This defensive line is extremely overrated. Harold Landry, he got a sack, but it took him long enough. Tier Tart made some plays early in the game, and then I really didn't see much of him later. Danico Autry looks a step slow. He looked like he's 33, 34 years old. And then your $94 million defensive tackle supposed to be a game wrecker. Did y'all even notice Big Jeff on the field yesterday? I didn't. And I love Big Jeff. I think he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. But I think you also understand that he can't do this alone. Because Harold Landry has been a disappointment. I didn't even know he had 5 sacks. That is extremely silent 5 sacks. That is an extremely quiet 5 sacks. And so I didn't even notice that. And Arden Key, talk about a disappointment. Talk about almost looking like a waste of money. Arden Key, we all fell for it. We all drank the Kool-Aid in training camp. Arden Key kept talking about, yep, man, I'm out there. I'm getting sacks after sacks. I think I got like 5 or 6 sacks during practice today. Man, we're going to get a bunch of sacks this season. I think Arden Key maybe has 1 sack on the season. And I'm looking that up right now just to confirm. But we're barely getting to the quarterback. Well, worse than that, we're barely touching the quarterback. We're barely touching the quarterback. And Arden Key has been an extreme disappointment. They won't pull up Rashard Weaver or Caleb Murphy to give them an opportunity. So we can't see what we got with them. Arden Key has 2.5 sacks. I didn't even notice that. We got 24 sacks on the year as a team. You couldn't tell. You could not tell. And then the linebackers, Azeez Al-Shire, I'm going to start to say, I think Azeez Al-Shire sucks. Monty Rice stinks, and I told y'all that when he got drafted, I hated that pick. And Gibbons, who Rabel just raved over, got benched. And then you have the secondary. Fulton, who had a few nice games. I mean, I didn't really notice Fulton, really. So maybe that's a good thing. And Tight South said McCreary, the only good one in the secondary. Well, I won't say all that. Yes, he had the interception. But they were picking on Roger McCreary all day long. They were picking on Roger McCreary. And I understand why they put him on the outside. I thought it was a good idea. But clearly it wasn't. I mean, Mike Evans made mincemeat of him. But he also made mincemeat of Fulton too. And so a lot of people talk about, well, the secondary is bad. Yes, because you thought your pass rush could get home quick enough to where it helps your secondary. Just like Tampa Bay. Their secondary wasn't good either. But how is it that they played a great game? They got to the quarterback. We couldn't. They blitzed a lot. We didn't. So, you know, that it's bad on all sides. So, as I've said many times before, if it's a couple of players or maybe one unit that's bad, it's probably those players or that unit. It could be easy. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if it was like the offensive line is just bad, but the defense is playing lights out. Or when Will Levis does have time, you're getting some big plays. Offensive line is bad. Defensive line is overrated, can't get to the quarterback. Secondary isn't doing well. Even though I'm not really going to talk bad about Nick Folk, he missed the field goal yesterday. I mean, he's human, but probably shouldn't have been in that position anyway. And I know everybody wants to say we have a talent problem. We don't have the talent. And Mem says, I don't know what's going on the Titans. With the Titans, ridiculous, O-line terrible. Even Coach Vrabel doesn't seem to give a F about none. And I can agree. We don't have all the talent. You don't think some other teams are struggling with that either? Y'all have to, some people are acting like, oh, the Titans are the only one that don't have no talent. They don't have enough talent. There's a lot of teams out there that are struggling. But there are also teams, you're not going to have all the talent. You're not going to have all 53 players be 5-star players. And I think that's what some people are thinking. It's like, well, all 53, we ain't got enough talent. Basically saying you want your entire starting 22 to be all 5-star players. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you want all your everybody that starts and probably the extra 10 to 12 people that coming off the bench, all of them got to be A+ or B+ players. You're not going to have any bad players. You're not going to have, basically like college recruiting. All those players, to be a good team, they all got to be 5-star. That's just not how it works. That's a pipe dream. Yeah, you'll have a few 5-stars. You'll have a few 4-stars. But you're mainly, on any roster, you're going to have probably a bunch of 3-stars. You might have a couple of 2. You're going to have some 2-stars. And you're going to have your walk-ons. That's the reality. And that is for every team. And as I've always said, and this goes to coaching. Somebody once told me and said it that, hey, how do you expect a good chef to be able to cook when you don't have all the ingredients that you need or you don't have the best ingredients? And this is how I counter that. A really good chef is the type that even if you don't have all the best ingredients, you're going to work with what you got to make the best possible meal. And it ends up being an edible meal. It ends up being a decent meal. It may not be perfect cuisine, but it's going to be something that's edible. And people be like, all right, it's pretty good. So a good chef will know how to take what he has and make it into a good meal. But on the other side, everybody talk about we ain't got enough talent. We ain't got enough talent. Okay, let's say we go get all the talent. You get all the perfect ingredients. You get all the perfect ingredients that there is. You got everything you need to make the perfect gourmet meal. But what happens when you have a terrible chef that has no idea how to cook? You have all those great ingredients, and you can still make a sucky-ass meal that tastes nasty as hell because you have a chef that doesn't know how to cook. That's what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. We may not have all the best ingredients. Take a look, for example, in Seattle. Pete Carroll. He may not have all the best ingredients in the world, but he works with the ingredients that he has and puts together a decent team. Sure, you got some talent like DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you got Kenneth Walker III. And I can't remember who they have on defense. And you got Charles Cross on the offensive line. They ain't got all the talent. Geno Smith isn't a superstar all-pro quarterback. But you know what? Pete Carroll knows how to get the most out of his guys. And he has done a great job in resurrecting Geno Smith. Jets, Chargers, they were ready to throw Geno Smith away. Pete Carroll has resurrected that dude's career. And now Seattle is actually doing all right. Because why? Pete Carroll is a good coach and knows how to maximize his players. Miami is another one. Mike McDaniel. They may not be looking super great, but they're 6-3. Saw you at Tua Tagovailoa, struggling, can't stay healthy. So what do? They go get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They go get Tyreek Hill to go along with Jalen Waddle. They got some weapons on offense. And defense, they're pretty decent too. They just didn't have a great coach. Again, Brian Flores had some ingredients, but didn't know how to cook with them. Mike McDaniel's come in, he knows how to cook with those ingredients. I mean, Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, who we're playing next week. Urban Meyer was supposed to be a guru. You had Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, you had Trevor Lawrence. You had some good guys on defense. Urban Meyer was running the Jags into the ground. In comes Doug Peterson, who has saved Trevor Lawrence. Because Trevor Lawrence looked like he was heading down the road to being a bust. And Doug Peterson might have saved him. They know how to develop and make players better. Save Trevor Lawrence. You got Travis Etienne. You're getting some potential out of Evan Ingram. Travon Walker, the first-round pick. Josh Allen. They are menaces on the edge. Jacksonville is running away with this division. And take a look at Houston. Competent coach, competent offensive coordinator. I mean, they moved their right tackle to guard, then go get another tackle, spent money, and C.J. Stroud with Nico Collins, who nobody really ever heard of yet. You go draft Tank Dell, and now you got weapons for C.J. Stroud. Dalton Schultz is another. Again, they didn't have all the talent in the world. They were supposed to suck, but they're knowing how to cook. Mike Vrabel is not a good coach anymore. He doesn't know how to cook with the ingredients that he has. Now, everybody was praising him back in 2020, 2021, when we had all the injuries. We had every injury in the book. But, we had all the injuries in the book. Basically, we had no talent, but we went 12-5. Won the division, number 1 seed with 90 players. Depleted roster, we lacked talent then. What's different now? And the fact of the matter is that Mike Vrabel is not a good head coach anymore. He decided to kick a field goal down 14. When you need to go for it on 4th and 2, you decide to send out your kicker when you could, and he missed a 51-yarder. Or you knew you needed to go for it because you're down 2 scores with about 7 minutes to go in the game. Instead, you kick a field goal, talk about, well, we just need to take the points there. We needed some points. We just needed some points, try to stay within distance. That is loser mentality. And that's basically it. Philip Maddox said, basically, Vrabel is trying to cook chitlins without cleaning them. And so everybody wants to say, it's John Robinson's fault. We ain't got no talent. Okay, a couple of years ago, he promoted Shane Bowen and and Todd Downing, the offensive and defensive coordinator, basically saying, I need players. It ain't the coach's fault. It's the players' fault. John Robinson, go get me players. John Robinson tries to get him players that either he wants or fits what he does. Same with Rand Carthon this year. And so we had a bad offensive line last year. You fired John Robinson. Rand Carthon comes in. You knew you had problems on the offensive line. This is Mike, and Mike Vrabel has more power now. So this is his chance to put his stamp on the team and go get guys he wants. So what does he do? He went to bat. He wanted Andre Dillard. Mike Vrabel did. You draft Skoronski, who was an All-American left tackle. And instead of having him practice and compete at tackle, you put him at guard. Then you find out Nicholas Petit-Frere gets suspended for the first 6 games, comes back after 3, not very good. And now he's out for the season. So you got to go get Chris Hubbard off the street. And then you get Brunskill, who's a backup. And then probably the dumbest move of all was giving $4.5 million to a tougher than $2 steak Aaron Brew. Undersized. And I see all y'all comments. I appreciate y'all being in here. And, we're interacting. Haven't scored 30 points since we blew out Miami. 27 straight games, we haven't scored 30. And we've lost 9 in a row on the road. We've lost 13 of 16 games. 9 straight on the road. Even though London was technically a home game, you're away from Nissan Stadium. And so the thing is, yeah, Rand can go get players, can draft players, but whose job is it to develop players? And I think that's a lot of things the media tends to forget. They're talking about, well, we don't have no talent. We don't have no talent. But when you go and get talent and you get young players, it is not the general manager's job to develop those players and, improve on what they do well or make them better. That is the coach's job. Isn't it not? I mean, it is the coach's job to develop players. And Aiden might say, well, we'll fire Shane Bowen, but we ain't firing Vrabel. Yeah, basically, they're going to try to make Shane Bowen the scapegoat. Again, basically trying to protect Vrabel. Because Amy Adams-Strunk, she loved Mike Vrabel, which makes me think maybe Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk are doing something. So this is fully on coaching. This is Mike Vrabel's fault. And I'm listening to Jared earlier today on Stillman and Company, and he posed a very interesting question. Because Mike Vrabel looked like he has no solution to the problem. He said, we're gonna fix this. We're here to fix things. And he said, like in the with the draft with receiver, you're gonna trust us. Why should I trust you? Why should I trust you? And he asked the question, do you trust Vrabel and this staff to fix the problem? Or is Mike Vrabel part of the problem? And A said, didn't Vrabel develop AJ? No, AJ is just that damn good. Plain and simple. Arthur Smith was the big part of AJ's game and of Tannehill's game. And the fact of the matter is, he said, do you trust Vrabel to fix the problem, or is he part of the problem? I took it a step further when I called in. I said, no, I don't trust Vrabel to fix the problem because he's proven that he can't. But no, he's not part of the problem either. Why? Because Mike Vrabel is the problem. Let me say that one more time. No, I don't trust him to fix the problem. No, he's not part of the problem. He is the problem. This is Mike Vrabel's fault. And there's really no other way to say it. You can't blame John Robinson anymore because he's gone. He's gone. And yeah, you have the remnants of him. But it is up to Vrabel to develop those players. He never gave Dylan Radins a real fair shot at left tackle until now. He basically said, no, he's going to play guard. And it's like, well, Dillard can't do it. So like now all of a sudden in the middle of the game, yeah, go play left tackle where you haven't practiced left tackle in the entire time you've been a Titan. I know that's his natural position, but he hasn't gotten any reps over there, and you just throw him over there. And CW says, you are delusional. We can agree to disagree on that, but I ain't delusional. I'm spitting facts here. You can either believe me or not. Look at how the rest of the season is going to turn out. You're going to come back and say, truth, you were right. I'm betting on that. And Titan South is saying it. I hope Vrabel doesn't ruin Levis. And again, that is what I am scared about. I am terrified they are going to ruin this kid, which is why you need an offensive-minded coach that knows how to develop a quarterback, that can develop a quarterback and develop a modernized offense to his skill set. So all I'm saying is take a look. You know, everybody wants to take a look at, it's like, yeah, the players are pawns in all of this. They need to move around, move their pieces right. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the grand architect, Mike Vrabel. This offseason, Vrabel has had to control. Let me ask y'all a question. Y'all want to say it's not Vrabel's fault. Whose decision was it to go get Andre Dillard? Mike Vrabel. He's the Buck Rising even said it on the pregame show yesterday that Mike Vrabel was the one that went to bat for Andre Dillard. Did y'all know that? That even more makes it so it's Vrabel's fault. Number two, who was the one that said, yep, we're going to play Skoronski at guard instead of his natural position? Who's the one that decided, I want Aaron Brewer? He's tougher than a $2 steak. Who's the one that promoted Shane Bowen? Who is the one that promoted Tim Kelly? Who's the one that hired Soderling as offensive line coach, who was the assistant to the assistant? That was Mike Vrabel's call. Now, CW says, I don't know. You don't know if Rand or Raved who pushed for Dillard. I don't care what Buck says. He doesn't know either. Hey, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of Buck Rising, but at the same time, he's in there closer than I am. They talk to people in that building. Obviously, he heard it from somewhere. And the fact of the matter is this. I actually kind of believe it because Vrabel is that stubborn. He thinks he knows everything. And I think he's in denial because he acted like, well, we're here to fix. But earlier, a few weeks ago, he said, I don't know if this is fixable. So, you're like, well, we're going to fix it. Like, how are you going to fix it? Basically, like, I don't know. And sometimes when you're like, you don't know, you're not sure how to fix it, it's because you're in denial and you don't even think there's a problem. And that might be why Vrabel hasn't fixed the O-line correctly, because he doesn't think there is a problem. That could be possible. Now, all of y'all, I want to ask a lot of y'all. Are a lot of y'all with C-Dub and think I'm delusional or I'm messed up? Or are you with me and I'm correct? Or I might be on to something. Nothing is off the table here. The way this team is playing, Vrabel is a part of the issue. So you can't just say, well, everything else is bad, Vrabel is not. You can't say that. So that's the problem. And I don't see I don't see a solution. And I don't think Vrabel knows the solution. And I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. You look at the rest of the schedule next week, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to be like Paul Heyman. This is not a prediction. This is a spoiler. We're going to be 3-7 after next week, after Sunday, because we're going to lose to the Jags. Let's just be real about that. I don't even need to put out a prediction on Wednesday. We're going to lose Sunday because the Jags got embarrassed by San Francisco at home, and this is another road game. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be angry, and they're going to want to take their frustration out on us. They're going to want to pound on us like crazy, and they don't like us. So y'all might as well get prepared for a massacre next Sunday. The Titans are going to lose, ladies and gentlemen, and that's just real. And what game on the rest of the schedule do you possibly see the Titans actually winning? You look at the rest of the schedule. And in fact, I'm about to pull it up for you because we're about to get ready to wrap this up. But on the rest of the schedule, where do you see a victory yet? Where do you see a victory yet? So that's going to be the question. We're losing to Jacksonville next week. So we're going to be 3-7 and 3-14. That means 10 straight losses on the road. And you have not won a road game in a year. You got Jacksonville next. You're going to lose that game. Then you got Carolina and Indy at home. I am convinced we're losing one of those two. I'm convinced we are losing one of those two. May lose both. Miami, you're going to lose that game. You might as well get ready for that. You're going to get embarrassed on Monday night if they don't flex that game out. Houston, we got to play them twice, and CJ Stroud looks really good. Seattle's not a guarantee. I think the Titans may win one more game this season. And that's not a guarantee either. And a lot of y'all basically saying, we're still going to finish 11-6. We're going to win out. We're going to finish 11-6. No, you're not. Everybody think we play the Panthers in 2 weeks. That game is not a given either. Earlier this year, I would have said that, yep, that's an easy dub. No. None of these games are easy dubs because the Titans make it so freaking hard. They said we usually split with the AFC South. Have you seen how the rest of the AFC South is playing? You're not beating Jacksonville. You're going to lose both of those games unless Jacksonville rests everybody at in the last game of the year because they've already won the division. And half of those guys may not even travel with the team. And, again, Seattle's not giving. Colts, you could lose that game because Gardner Minshew has had our number. So, yeah, we're 0-6 on the road this year. Go back to last year. We're 0-9. Since the game against Green Bay, we have not won on the road in a full calendar year. So I don't see them winning. I think I see them maybe winning one more game. 6-11 is a pipe dream. I think this team is going to go 5-11. 5-12 or 4-13. I think I'm looking at 5-12. And it would not shock me if they lost out the rest of the year and went 3-14. It could happen. It could very well happen. And I guarantee y'all, pay attention to the Panther game. If we lose the Panther game, hey, pretty much what I said was right all along. We lose that Panther game, I expect an apology from everybody. They says, I believe Vrabel is going to change. He ain't going to change nothing. He still think, oh, no, it ain't their fault. It's not Bowen's fault. It's not Kelly's fault. And the fact of the matter is, Rand Carthon needs to put on some big boy pants and stand up to Vrabel. He needs to put on big boy pants and basically say, look, enough is enough. Big Dog said, we're not losing to the 1-8 Panthers. The great C.J. Stroud did. They lost to the Panthers. So anything is possible. And so we're already going to lose 10 straight on the road before we have our next home game. And again, that Panthers game is not a guaranteed victory. So I please do not think like that. Do not think, oh yeah, that's a guaranteed victory against the Panthers, because you will leave yourself disappointed. Titan South says Panthers are 1-9. Will be 1-9 when we play them. If we lose to them, we are pathetic. We're already pathetic. We're already pathetic. We are probably, with New England, the worst team in the AFC. Yeah, they will be 1-9 because they're playing the Cowboys. They're going to lose. And Carolina's going to get tired of being humiliated. And Carolina, it doesn't help them to lose because their pick's going to the Bears. So, yeah, you can say I've given up on the season. I'm done with Vrabel. I think he needs to go at the end of the year. I pray to God the Patriots fire Bill Belichick and call and want Mike Vrabel. If they want Mike Vrabel, you give me 2 first-round picks, you give me 2 second-round picks, or 2 first-rounders and a second next year or this year, please, I will be glad to help him pack and get him the F out of here. But everybody, it's been a depressing time. We'll try to get ready for Wednesday. I thank everybody for tuning into the show. I hope everybody has a very good rest of the evening. I leave y'all with this. Even though it looks dark and gloomy right now, the sun will come out tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Thank y'all for tuning into the show. Y'all have yourself a good night and tighten up. That's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.